In the days leading up to the Ides of March, a palpable sense of foreboding seemed to surround Julius Caesar. A soothsayer famously urged him to beware the Ides of March. Yet Caesar, dismissive of such mysticism, trudged resolutely forward. His was a mind convinced of destiny's unwavering favor, a man perpetually assured by the sway of the populace. Amidst this tension, Calpurnia, Caesar's wife, found herself gripped by haunting dreams. She saw him bleeding to death in her sleep, his statue running with blood. Despite her earnest pleas, Caesar dismissed her fears as mere phantoms of the night. His disregard was not simply a dismissal of omens, but a testament to his belief in his invincibility. There was also an unread note thrust into Caesar's hand amidst the clamor of the Senate House entryway. It spoke of a conspiracy, of daggers drawn against him. Yet in the cacophony of daily affairs and the yearning smiles of the throng, such warnings were relegated to irrelevance by a man whose confidence had become impervious to suggestion. This repeated dismissal of warnings was not foolish bravado, but a deeper symptom of Caesar's psychological lattice, a profound trust in the very love he commanded. It was this conviction of popular affection that convinced him of his untouchability, despite danger that loomed from within his circle of trust. Caesar's track to unfathomable power had been paved not by fear, but by ingenious charm. He crafted a unique political vision where the love of the populace was the bulwark against the traditional bastions of senatorial privilege. His populism was radical, reshaping how power was acquired and maintained. Yet therein lay both his genius and his Achilles' heel. His grand reformations, his conquests, and his spectacle of public works had forged an image of invincibility. This constant reinforcement of public love cultivated an inner certainty, a psychological armor against the reality that power's true threats often rise from the shadows, not the adoring multitudes. Yet his elevation incurred envy. His vaunted confidence inspired not only admiration, but also ignited a growing storm of resentment among those who felt eclipsed by his aura. His tireless ascent was their shadow. In his brilliance, they saw their irrelevance, and in every triumph they saw their own diminishment. The Senate, that august body designed to safeguard republic tradition, now harbored plans as old as power itself. Caesar seemed to have forgotten that love from the many could not shield him from the intimacy of betrayal by the few, who perceived his dominance as an existential threat. His populism was an affront to the patrician values that defined senatorial Rome. His reforms dismantled and reconstituted traditions with a flair that alienated the old guard, a testament to a vision of Rome that must either evolve or crumble. This juxtaposition laid the groundwork for deepening discontent. The irony laid bare, for all Caesar's military genius and civic reimagination, his greatest adversaries were not beyond Rome's borders, but within its hallowed corridors, hidden behind alliances shown only in whispers. He saw loyalty dyed in the colors of the crowd while wearing blinders to the daggers within arm's reach. The day's beginning was deceptively ordinary. Caesar moved through the city cloaked in the routine of duty, but the storm clouds within the Senate were about to break with calculated precision. He approached his fateful meeting undeterred, buoyed by the cloak of public favor, blissfully ignorant of the sinister symphony in motion. As the senators tapped into ancient fears of democracy collapsing into tyranny, they too trafficked in public imagination, casting their betrayal as an act of saving the republic. They aimed to become the architects of restoration, but their coup was a macabre paradox, dooming what they purportedly sought to save. Despite his acumen, Caesar was caught in a cognitive dissonance. The weight of his achievements had beguiled him into believing in his ubiquity over the malice of political maneuvering, where emotions like jealousy and fear power movements away from the public eye that he so confidently commanded. The Senate, a place of supposed sanctity, became a stage for betrayal. Friends and allies like Brutus were transformed into assassins. The betrayal needed bold faces to mask the lurking shadows. What Julius Caesar saw as affection was masked ambition and simmering dissent. Power, nurtured through popular love, offered a deceivingly insular perception. It provided a sanctuary from awareness deeper than adulation. Visibility, grand strategies, rhetoric. None shielded him where trust should have been unyielding, but proved tragically ephemeral. The assassins understood that theory of popularity's shield was fundamentally flawed. The fateful moment arrived, an enactment perfectly planned, yet chaotic in execution, reenacting violence amidst perceivable calm. Of all his faculties, his awareness was tragically outstripped. The daggers thrust repetitively until life ebbed, each stab a testament to vulnerability cloaked in loyalty's disguise, not from afar, but within heart's reach. At that pinnacle point, Caesar faced the raw truth of his beloved populace's irrelevance in that room where motives were sharpened by envy and preservation. The Senate claimed to act for Rome, yet it was a blind devotion to a past playing dangerously with the constructs of legacy that Caesar had so vividly shaped. Herein lay the profound reinterpretation. Popularity, constructed and fashioned through charisma and deeds, is a spectacle of one to many. Yet safety is often about the profoundly reciprocal, the one to few bonds. It's indeed true that while the crowd may cheer, power remains always a breath away from plight. Caesar disregarded this dichotomy, mistaking the populist shield for armor against close conspiracies, hoping shielded magnanimity could eclipse whispers of revolt. Misjudgment entailed a blindness to realpolitik dynamics, a saga hovering between paradox and strategic vulnerability amidst grandeur, emboldened in victorious campaigns. Ironically, Caesar's assassination rippled Rome into the ensuing storm. It was both the end of an era and the inception of another, born of his phoenix persona, descending into irreversible civil strife. The Republic transformed amidst unfamiliar continuities, actions echoing consequences, scenarios he posed without verdict. The senator's victory was Pyrrhic. Caesar's shadow loomed larger in death, with allegiance shifts triggered not from love, but strategic alignments inspired by visions crafted masterfully by the very man they cut down in his prime, both politically and literally, and reconstructed by an ever-ambitious posterity. Herein, the crossroads of historical convergence pits love against loyalty, public against power. Caesar stands immortalized in a tableau speaking through ages of a leadership canon, a paradoxical spectrum of affection, trust, and betrayal, where transience met with the core realities of stratagems and its recurrences. Julius Caesar's belief, perhaps, was not misplaced. The populace continued to revere him, his martyrdom nourishing his mythos. Yet in the corridors of power, where transactions occurred in shadows, his vision is noteworthy, a stark reminder of the fragility of power perceived through the lens of greatness and love. Thus, Roman society transformed profoundly. His transition into legend upheld by those inheriting the new realms he opened, both present truths anchoring in the historical anticipations of what Rome needed amidst the flight of its equilibrium. His life remains a lecture in triumphs obscured subtly by caution. The agony of realization, perhaps scorched as fate entwined with learning outcomes long embedded within betrayal's shifts, altered ambitions. Caesar's trust impaired to a degree unseen, until fateful necessity momentarily unraveled power dynamics that converged on sudden and sharp crossroads, marking perpetual historical hurdles. Julius Caesar dared to rewrite politics with love as his script's primary ink. His appeal left ripples harder to erase than the conspirators imagined when blood was shed upon their backed steps. Rome heard echoes that infused momentary judgment down an intricate web of unexpected vividness. In death, he revealed the ominous nullity that lies between perceived stability and the human essence, a reminder that even the greatest minds, sharp and perceptive, can falter when rendered blind by success. The true epic of confrontation between illusion and reality, Caesar found himself immortalizing. So concluded his saga. Power gained from the admiration of the masses is fleeting, reliant on tides shifting like sands. A lesson etched infinitely across time, that love does not equate invulnerability, and power lent by the public is just as easily withdrawn when perception shifts. As we cast a reflection upon Caesar's steps into history, remember that beneath the shining veneer of popularity, true security is an understanding eternally grappled with. And though the marvel of his political mastery was unrivaled, the lurking shadows often serve as the real reckonings of remembered greatness.